Jack and Annie's Guide to the 30 Colonies. All the colonies but Pennsylvania were on the Atlantic coast. The soil was poor in New England. Some people were farmers, but many New England colonists became shipbuilders, fishermen, or merchants. In the middle colonies, the land was rich and fertile. Farmers grew grain that fed most of the other colonies. These colonies were known as the bread colonies. Tobacco was the biggest crop in the southern colonies. Rice was also a popular crop. Many large plantations in South Carolina grew it in the wet lowlands. Second, life in the colonies. There weren't many cities in colonial times. Boston, New York, Philadelphia, and Charleston were some of the largest. But compared with the cities today, they were small. In 1774, Boston had only about 18,000 people. Today it has over 600,000. Colonial cities had newspapers, hospitals, and shops. There were taverns, churches, meeting houses, and schools. Most cities had busy harbors. At the docks, goods like rice, tobacco, and lumber piled up, waiting to be loaded onto ships. Life on the farms. Most people did not live in cities. Almost everyone lived on farms. Farm families worked very hard. They built their own houses and barns. They made their own clothes, candles, and soaps. They grew much of their food. Many families worked from dawn to dusk. Most colonists never went far from home. Travel was slow and difficult. There were no paved roads. In fact, there were very few roads at all. Most people traveled on horseback or on foot. Farms were often far away from one another. Because they didn't see many people, the colonists welcomed guests. Some guests stayed for weeks at a time. Colonial houses. Colonial houses didn't all look alike. Some were made of brick and stone. Others were made of wood. Some were simple cabins or farmhouses. Others were beautiful mansions. There were large stone fireplaces in most houses. Some fireplaces were big enough for a man to stand up in. People used the fireplaces to heat their homes and for cooking. People sat by the fire to stay warm, but even with the fireplaces, houses all cold in the winter. At night, water often froze in pitchers and jugs. People warmed their beds by rubbing the covers with pans of hot coals. Except for the fire, candles gave the only light. The end.